Hey everyone, my name's Renee. I'm going to be giving a speech entitled Four-Legged Friends with Benefits. How many times have you come home to your dog and they were not happy to see you? Almost never, unless they've done something wrong and they're cowering in a corner. But even then, they're happy to see you. How often do you go outside and you see somebody walking their dog? Probably pretty often. Also, think about this. When you want to pet somebody's dog, what's the first thing you have to do? You gotta ask the pet owner, hey, can I pet your dog? Right there, that's a social interaction. We could all use health benefits in life, whether it's physical or emotional. And naturally, we're social creatures. We want to talk. Usually. Dogs are everywhere and they're inevitable. No matter where you go, you're going to see a dog at some point, even if it's in somebody's car. I personally have lived with dogs all my life. I've had jobs interacting with dogs. I'm going to school to work with animals and help them. So I have a lot of experience with dogs. I've also read a lot of articles, and for this particular speech, I've done a lot of research. You may not realize the benefit that your dog at home provides you, or even your neighbor's or your family's dog. A lot of people don't realize the benefits that they bring. I'm going to explain three major benefits. The first one is reduced stress levels. The second is reduced cardiovascular illness, which is really pretty awesome that they can help lower risks of heart attack. And then the third is increased social interactions, which many people might not think is a big deal, but it can be a big deal for some people. So, let's start out with reduced stress levels. Everybody knows that stress is bad for you. It's bad for your heart, it's bad for your mood. It's just not good for your body to be constantly stressed out. When you come home to your dog and it's all happy to see you, you can't help but feel a little happy. Also, a study was done that compared animal companions' effects of stress level compared to exercise effects on stress level, and it was found to be the same. So your animal at home brings you the same amount of stress relief as exercising. That's pretty awesome. Increased dopamine and serotonin levels are also provided by dogs. When you pet a dog, your brain instantly releases dopamine and serotonin. And for those of you who don't know, dopamine and serotonin are your happy hormones, and that's what gives you that feeling of being happy. Dogs also give you a feeling of companionship. They make you feel less lonely. And this can be really important for elderly people who don't have any kids at home, or maybe they don't have any kids at all. A dog can give them that sense of having a purpose in life. This is extremely helpful. When patients are brought into nursing homes, they tend to have a lot of stress. Simply by bringing a dog into that environment can help reduce the stress of being separated from their family and just the stress of going into this, institution compared to their nice, comfy home. Next is decreased cardiovascular illnesses. A lot of people wouldn't really think about this one, but when you have a dog, you tend to exercise more. Most people will take their dogs for walks regularly, and even if you don't, usually just you play more with them in your house if you don't take them for a walk. There's going to be more exercise compared to if you didn't have an animal to play with or run around with or just simply walk. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the National Institute of Health conducted heart studies of pet parents, and they found that pet parents have lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol, and lower triglyceride levels. The studies were done on participants who matched in weight, diet, and smoking habits, so they weren't skewed results. They also found that it helped in the recovery of heart-related illnesses, and this could be due to the lower stress levels. You're lowering your stress level, which is going to increase your recovery time. It was also found that the odds of survival of a heart attack go from 1 in 87 to 1 in 15 when owning a dog. This is tremendous. That's a lot better chance of survival than compared to not having a dog. And this can be due to the lower stress levels, for one, And then the other thing is, if you think about it, most people who have heart attacks are older, elderly people, typically. If they have a dog at home, they have a sense of, I have something that I need to go home and take care of. Typically, older people don't have kids or grandkids living with them, so they don't have that sense of, I need to go home and take care of this. But when they have a dog, they have that sense of having, something to take care of. And even if you're not an elderly person, like I said before, you're still going to be interacting with your dog and taking them for walks or jogs or even runs. And this is good not just for adults, but for kids too. Especially in today's day, like everybody's always on their electronics. My cousin's always on her phone, but 3 times a day she has to take her dogs out for a walk. This is her form of exercise if she doesn't do anything on her own. She's at least getting something. So it's definitely adding exercise into kids' lives that would be on electronics otherwise. And then a lot of people like to take their dogs hiking, actually. And this gives the dog a sense of a different place, and it also, hiking is a lot more strenuous than just simply walking down the sidewalk of your street. So this would really help in exercise, and when you exercise, you reduce your risk for cardiovascular disease, because you're just, your heart's healthier. Now the next thing would be social interactions. When you see a dog, typically you want to pet that dog. Unless you hate dogs, then obviously this speech does not pertain to you at all. But if you like dogs, you're going to want to pet somebody's dog. So instantly that's an icebreaker. You're going to talk to the pet parent and ask if you can pet the dog. Right there, that starts a social interaction. You might not realize it, but that could form into something more than just, hey, can I pet your dog? You could start talking about something else that you may have not have talked about if you just walked by each other. There are many events for dogs. One is called Paws in the Park. It's actually being held this next weekend, June 25th in Albany. I'm going myself, and when people have animals, they tend to go to activities like this. Just like when you have kids, you go to other activities. And when you go to those activities, you meet other parents. In this case, it's pet parents. And when you're there, you can make new friends. You find out about all these other social events going on, and it really gets you involved. A Canadian survey was done on 987 dog walkers aged 18 to 84. They found at the end of the survey that social interactions contributed to the psychological well-being of these people. And these people had more social interactions because they were out walking their dog. The survey involved closed questions and open-ended questions, so there was a lot of different feedback. And overall it showed that these people walking their dogs had more social interactions. And then going back to elderly people, when they're moved into a nursing home, they tend to shut down. And I personally have seen this. I worked as a CNA in nursing homes before, and it's really sad to see what happens to a lot of them. They shut down and they don't want to talk to anybody. They don't want to do anything. They just either sit in their room or they sit in a common room and they don't talk. They'll just watch TV, and that's about it. When you bring a dog into that, it livens the mood up. They instantly become more friendly. They want to talk to each other. They start petting the dog. And remember what I said, when you pet a dog, those dopamine and serotonin levels are increased, And that will instantly bring up their happiness. And when they're happy, maybe they want to talk to people more. And it's been found that when you bring a dog to these nursing homes, the happiness of the nursing home is increased. All the residents in there, when they interact with this dog, they start to talk to each other more. Also, activities that include animals, the residents tend to attend a lot more than those that don't include animals. So again, dogs overall are going to increase your social interactions. But remember, they also reduce your stress levels, which increases typically your happiness with those dopamine and serotonin levels. They decrease your risk for cardiovascular disease, and again, they're going to increase your social interactions. Even if you don't have a dog yourself, maybe a family member does, or maybe your neighbor, you will probably interact with a dog pretty regularly throughout your life. With having a dog, you're going to get all three of these benefits, but if you only see a dog, a few times a week or something, you're still going to get those little spurts of reduced stress levels from petting a dog, and you're going to get those social interactions. You might not be the pet owner interacting, but you might be that person on the other side of the conversation who says, hey, can I pet your dog? And that's, when the friendship could start. So you can still get these benefits that the dogs provide to you. So just remember, the next time that your pup's barking up a storm or choose the $2,000 leather sofa, they're providing you with a lot of benefits to your health. So just keep that in mind.